There's just something special about this racetrack in Austin, Texas, the Circuit of the Americas. A fantastic racetrack, of course, Formula One coming here every season. For this weekend, though, it's USF Juniors presented by Cooper Tires, the development level for the Road Dandy presented by Cooper Tires, which capped off its 2022 season at Portland International Raceway on Labor Day weekend. It is Championship Sunday here. 2 races up for grabs. 4 drivers still with a mathematical chance at winning the scholarship worth over $220,000. Hello, folks. My name is Rob Howden, the voice of this USF Juniors program. Excited about going racing at a very warm racetrack here. Actually, only around 79 degrees, but 97% humidity to start off the day. We could get as high as 95 before the end of the day. For a driver like Matt Clark, though, it's already heating up. He knows he has the opportunity to score this championship for D-Force Racing, although the driver with really the power right now in terms of coming in with momentum is Nikita Johnson. A big win for him yesterday. He'll start on the pole position here today as well. Matt Clark, though, all he's got to do is put himself in the right position here and could potentially clinch this championship. Nikita Johnson, of course, will do whatever he can to kind of work his way back forward. And again, trying to get that race win that will keep him in the fight for sure. There's lots of permutations to the championship battle. Alessandro DiTullio still in it. He's a little bit further back, as, of course, is Sam Corey, who actually is the driver who sits second place in points right now. Sam Corey started on pole position yesterday, spun on the opening lap, fought his way back up to a solid finish of 4th to keep himself in the fight. But again, it's a 35-point lead for Matt Clark over Sam Corey, 43 over Nikita Johnson, and 54 over Alessandro DiTullio. For Matt Clark, really easy. Go out and beat all 3 of those drivers, and you are the champion of the inaugural USF Juniors program. That said, the VRD drivers, Corey, Johnson, and DiTullio have been very quick, so watch for Nikita Johnson to try to get his 3rd win of the season, which would keep him in the fight for the race this afternoon. Let's have a look at the grid as the drivers have rolled out onto pit lane. Fantastic shot here of the massive uphill run into turn number 1. Pace car rolling out here right now. The pace car this weekend being driven by an absolute American motorsports icon. Elliott Forbes Robinson will be behind the wheel of that Porsche. And the drivers, all 19 of them, rolling up the hill into turn number 1. Starting at the tail of the field, we'll have Matty Oust for Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport, starting 19th. And then row number 9, 18th, Mete Caceres in the number 21, starting on the outside, also for Crosslink Kiwi. Inside of that row, a driver who showed great speed yesterday, but just have the contact here in turn, I believe it was number 12. Jake Bonilla has shown good speed for D-Force Racing. He'll have to come from deep in the field, 17th, but I think that's a driver to keep an eye on, that number 19 blue and white D-Force entry, Jake Bonilla. Row number 8 on the outside, Quinn Armstrong in the number 16. Quinn had a good run to 9th yesterday. He'll start deeper in the field, so work to be done for him. Alongside him as well, Lucas Facuri for Crosslink Kiwi Motorsports in the number 28. Armstrong for D-Force Racing. Up into row number 7, making his debut weekend here in USF Juniors competition, the 44 of Bailey Cruz. And on the inside, Ethan Barker in the number 12. Barker coming off a strong 7th place finish yesterday, his best result of the season. Going now to row number 6 on the outside, Jeremy Fairburn in the number 87 for Crosslink Kiwi. Yesterday, Fairburn working his way up to P6. He's going to have to fight his way forward once again. He'll start alongside Joe Carrera in the number 32 for International Motorsports. Into the top 10 now, row number 5, Maxwell Jameson, who was a top 10 runner for majority of the race yesterday, ended up finishing 15th. He'll start 10th, alongside Titus Sherlock out of Prosper, Texas, for Crosslink Kiwi in the number 31. Row number 4, here's the 2 championship challengers, first and second, outside and inside. It is Matt Clark for D-Force Racing out of Campbellville, Ontario, Canada. That driver, the number 17, starting in 8th position with a shot at winning this championship. Alongside him, Sam Corey out of Cornelius, North Carolina, in the number 14 for VRD Racing. He'll start in 7th. Both those drivers have got to get through the opening couple of corners cleanly, especially the run down to turn number 12 as well, as they look to try to see if they can't fight their way to that scholarship by winning the title. Row number 3, Andre Castro on the outside for International Motorsports. Castro rose in here now P5 in the points, but not in a mathematical position to run for the title. But it's been a good full season run here for Andre Castro in the number 23. Inside, one of the most improved drivers throughout the season, Ethan Ho in the number 71 machine. The DC Autosport driver will start in the 5th position. Row 2 on the outside, Ryan Sheehan, local driver here, Austin, Texas. A big weekend here for Ryan Sheehan. A number of his partners here this weekend, his Pathfinder partners. So we'll say hello to those folks throughout the day as well. And on the inside of that row, Alessandro DiTullio, 5 wins on the season, comes in 4th place in points right now. He needs a big day here to try to keep himself in the fight. He'll start 3rd, but the front row, another driver making his debut. It'll be Bryson Morris in number 39 for Crosslink Kiwi Motorsport. Bryson Morris making his debut. Strong run yesterday to 3rd. He'll start 2nd. Driver on the pole, though, rolling through turn number 19 will be Nikita Johnson out of Florida. This is the driver looking to get another race win. He's still in the mathematical fight, 43 points back. He'll start on the pole position. Johnson and Morris, row 1. DiTullio and Sheehan, row 2. Ho and Castro, row number 3. Drivers rolling themselves out onto the front straightaway. Race number 2 of the weekend of the triple header, the penultimate event of the year's USF Junior schedule. Field set, 19 drivers in line, green, 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 and we are underway as the drivers working their way up into one. One driver popped out pretty early there. Could be a penalty there. Here comes a move to the bottom of the racetrack early. That is the VRD driver. That's, I believe, the 20 of Alessandro DiTullio goes to P1. Good move down the bottom of the racetrack. It looks to be like that will be Morris slotting into the 2nd position. Big shot here from the tower at the Circuit of the Americas, taking us through the S's of 3, 4, 5, and 6. Opening lap underway, hoping that people have gotten themselves through here cleanly at this point. Again, drivers coming themselves through here now. First time down around the corner through turn number 10 down to turn number 11. We'll see how things play out here. We'll pick up the other camera coming into turn number 11 right now. Looking at the potential move for Morris. Nope, he's going to slide in behind Alessandro DiTullio, who needs a race win here if he wants to keep himself in the championship fight. At this point, things are clean and green. Big run down that long, kind of a bit of a sweeping right side straightaway down to the hard-braking turn number 12. We will detail the fact that we're not counting track limits really at all here this weekend. They are looking at turn number 19, the final corners, but otherwise, drivers able to use all the racetrack. A defensive move to the bottom there for DiTullio, so he'll hold the spot from Bryson Morris. That's going to allow those drivers behind to close back up a little bit. So again, underway with the penultimate race. That is Sam Corey, who has worked his way up into the 3rd spot. Great start there for Sam Corey. Not sure whether that is Matt Clark right behind him yet. Initial drivers rolling themselves through the racetrack here, trying to put that first lap in the books. Full course yellow being shown there, so a driver's gone off the racetrack. Full course yellow on the opening circuit here in the 2nd race. It'll stack these drivers back up. Not exactly sure what happened on the racetrack. They'll come through turn number 19. We'll try to find out what happened here, as we do have a driver off track, as I had said. We'll find out what we can here. They'll roll back up the front straightaway, and they'll see that double yellow at start finish. We'll find out potentially what driver has fallen down the order. Still not quite sure which driver is involved in the incident, why we went full course yellow. But a good start for Alessandro DiTullio, able to make a big move up the inside of Nikita Johnson, who I believe fell back to 4th position. Bryson Morris into the 2nd spot. And then Sam Corey with a massive start works himself up into P3. Unsure which driver is falling down the order. It looks like Ethan Ho potentially in the number 71 for DC Autosport potentially on the racetrack. I've not picked that up anywhere camera-wise as of yet. There's a safety car there. There you go, coming right down out of turn number 2 through 3 and 4. Another driver involved as well. It's going to be one of the, I believe that might be the 16 of Quinn Armstrong. Titus Sherlock looks like he's fallen to the bottom of the order, as has the 44 of Bailey Cruz. So Titus Sherlock in turn number 12. That's the 31. So a couple of different incidents on the racetrack. Sherlock in the 31 in turn 12. That's the end of the long back straightaway. And then the incident between, I believe, Quinn Armstrong and Ethan Ho. We saw that the 71 of Ho was stopped off course, but a little further up the order, one of the blue and white D-Force drivers was off to the driver's right against a wall. So a number of drivers involved in an early incident here You can see the AMR safety crew and the track crew getting to work. There's the 71 of Ethan Ho. There's damage to the right front there. And that's the opening lap, right? Everybody trying to come out of that turn one, up the hill, back down the hill, through into the S's, and everybody trying to grab some positions. Not sure whether or not we'll potentially get a replay of this or not, but we'll look at it later on. There is contact, as we said, between those drivers. So, again, the driver off in turn number 12. Our particular camera angle not picking that up. So, we'll slow the action here. Here's your lineup, though. Alessandro DiTullio, P1. Bryson Morris in second. Sam Corey in third spot. Nikita Johnson in fourth. Matt Clark fifth. Ryan Sheehan into sixth spot. So, Corey, who started back in seventh all the way up into third. Clark in fifth, started eighth. He's to P5. So, clean starts for both of those drivers. Ryan Sheehan in sixth position. Jeremy Fairburn in seventh. Andre Castro 8th, Maxwell Jamison 9th, Giorgio Carrera rounds out the top 10. Lucas Facuri, who started back in 15th, he's jumped to 11th. Jake Bonilla in 12th, Matty Oust in 13th, Mete Caceres in 14th. Ethan Barker actually started in 13th. He's fallen back to 15th spot, wondering whether or not he was potentially either caught up in the incident or maybe had to make evasive maneuvers not to get collected. 4 drivers in total out. Ethan Ho, Titus Sherlock, Bailey Cruz, and Quinn Armstrong involved in the opening race here, or the opening laps. We'll pull out our points possibilities chart to make sure we dial things in here. Remember, those of you tuning in here on the broadcast, we're back at it right around probably 105, 110 Central Time this afternoon for race number 3. Points possibilities charts. Matt Clark currently running now in the 5th position. That would put him at 366 points. Sam Corey in 3rd, 336. That would be a 30-point gap still. So it would not clinch the championship as of yet. The 44 Bailey Cruz, I mentioned him as well. He came into pit lane for a new nose. Looks like we're going to go red flag here right now, I believe. So the Elliott Forbes Robinson, our pace car driver, the veteran, the icon of American motorsports, bringing all the drivers into pit lane. We're going to go red on this one here now. 15 laps or 40 minutes. That's the window. So the drivers now working their way in. They're having some trouble, I believe, getting Wrecker out to the number 71 of Ethan Ho. And again, when you have 3 different drivers involved in incidents, we'll do what we can to clean this up as quickly as possible. So again, talking about the potential possibilities in terms of points, just a quick update too. One of the drivers with more damage, that might have been Lucas Facuri, I think, has lost the rear wing on that machine. Yeah, they're bringing the flatbed out now here as well to, I believe, likely pull the car of Ethan Ho on there. So drivers coming down pit lane, work to be done to get the back to running. We have a long window here, a 40-minute window. So the idea is to try to get all of our 15 laps in the books. We go red. And indeed, 33 points up for grabs in every race. So coming into the final circuit, if Matt Clark has a 34-point lead, no one then, of course, able then to mathematically challenge him for that position. So Clark would need to get to 33 points up. Right now, as they run on the racetrack, he is 30 points ahead of Sam Corey. Still, of course, fast laps of the race. You name it, still up for grabs. There's the 31 of Titus Sherlock. Doesn't seem like a lot of damage, at least on the left side or right front. Might be right rear damage to the car of Sherlock. That Ligier on the back of the hook there. They'll get him rolling back to the paddock because they're going to have to go to work to get this thing back together. Still 3 hours to go. There's Bailey Cruz back around. So this helps Bailey Cruz actually out a lot. Knock the wing off of that machine for Cruz. The yellow comes out. He comes back in, gets the nose on, then goes back around the red flag. So he's back, stays in the lead lap. So Bailey Cruz still with an opportunity to work up the order. Alessandro DiTullio, though, coming in 54 points back. And, again, the only thing that Alessandro can do here is score race wins. You know, he's got to get race wins, fast laps, most laps led. That's what he's got to do right now to potentially keep himself in the fight. But as he runs on the racetrack with a win, he would have 325 points. And Matt Clark currently sitting, as I said, in fifth with 366. That's enough of a gap. That's a 41-point gap. So if Clark finishes fifth, he will knock at least one of the challengers out in terms of going to race number 3 this afternoon. That'll be DeTulio. Again, 54 points back. Really a long shot at the very best for DeTulio. VRD Racing drivers P1, P3, P4 as they sit on pit lane. The Dan Mitchell-led team has already clinched the team championship. Did that back at Road America where they were able to sweep the weekend. All 3 of their drivers scoring a single race win. Again, the track safety crew doing the best job they can to get this cleared up as quickly as possible. One of the things that we do, obviously, as part of the Road to Indy and the relationship that the Road to Indy has with the AMR IndyCar safety crew, is we bring 3 members of the AMR crew to each and every USF Juniors event. Now, the USF Juniors program, not an official part of the Road to Indy, but a development series that leads drivers into the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship. So the crew that we have from the AMR IndyCar safety crew kind of quarterbacks all of our track crew. We have an AMR rep in race control as well to coordinate everything from high above. So again, Ethan Ho, as you can see, out of the race car already. They've got him probably brought back to pit lane. They'll get this car hoisted up and onto the flatbed. The DC Autosport crew will go to work fixing that right front suspension. Not a lot of damage, I think, to the 71. Tough for him for sure. Yeah, so 3 separate incidents on the racetrack. So the reason we, of course, go red, I think only the one flatbed trailer to bring them back. We had a couple of tow trucks, as we know. So once they get the 71 here, I believe, of Ho back there, we should be able to get back to racing. Still 34 minutes on the clock. Lots of time. This could take a little bit of time, though, to get everybody back into pit lane. We know that there's an incident with Quinn Armstrong as well. Titus Sherlock, we saw him. He's already up on the hook. Ethan Ho on the hook right now. I don't know that they're going to be able to bring the car of Quinn Armstrong in on just a tow truck, simple tow truck. There is he right there. That's Quinn Armstrong. So Sherlock's already back, coming back to the paddock. We saw that. Ethan Ho up on the back, as is Quinn Armstrong. So we'll see how much time this is going to be. Race control trying to give me some information here, feeding it in that we have potentially 3 cars involved over in turn number 12, but I've got 16 cars have turned 1 lap. I don't know how that would have happened. Not sure if the information we're getting is correct at this point here, but doing the best they can to get things cleaned up. And again, like we said, we have the opportunity here to go red in a 40-minute window, so the drivers are going to get a significant amount of lap time. So there is a possibility we could get all the laps in still once we do go racing. May lose a couple of laps near the end here. But again, lots of drivers involved in the incident on the opening circuit. Saw the incident coming down from the turn 1 drop into 2, 3, 4 into the S's, collecting a couple of drivers, and I guess being told that it likely was not just Titus Sherlock involved potentially over in turn number 12. But again, as I said, I believe it looks like 16 drivers had turned at least 1 lap on the racetrack. So that, I would assume, would mean they all came back. I don't know exactly what I'm getting from race control, but hopefully we'll get more of an update. DeTulio, the leader. Bryson Morris in second. Sam Corey up to third. Nikita Johnson, your pole sitter, falling back to P4. Matt Clark in the 5th spot. Ryan Sheehan in 6th. Jeremy Fairburn 7th. Andre Castro 8th. Maxwell Jameson 9th. And Giorgio Carrera rounding out the top 10. Matt Clark coming in with a 35-point lead over Sam Corey. Nikita Johnson in the 3rd spot. 4th, Alessandro DeTulio. 5th, Andre Castro. Those were the points coming into the weekend. There's Ho in the number 71, his machine on the flatbed, bringing him back now as well. So not the beginning we would like to have had here at the Circuit of the Americas. Maybe cleaner opening lap would have been more preferred. But a number of drivers, as we've said, coming into the final event of the season, everyone looking for that big result to cap off the year. Many of them I've talked to are already focusing on potential plans for 2023. I know a lot of testing happening over the next couple of weeks with the Road to Indy teams and, of course, drivers here in USF Juniors. Some of them focused on coming back to run the brand new Tatis JR23 next year when we debut the new car with the halo for the USF Juniors sophomore season. Number of drivers maybe closer to the front of the grid, hoping to get into a USF 2000 car next year. A lot of testing going on, as I've said. Iconic view of this Circuit of the Americas, a beautiful racetrack, which of course will be lit up by the Formula One circus in November. Austin in the background. What a tremendous facility this is. Nice karting facility off to the left side here behind the main grandstand. And inside that main grandstand in one of the suites is where we will have our 2022 championship celebration later on this evening. 6:30 start. We'll get a chance to honor the drivers who were able to find success here in the 2022 season. Looking forward to emceeing that program this evening. A number of awards to get doled out as the drivers will attend that program to cap off the season. Matt Clark again with a 35-point lead coming into the day here in the Valkyrie-sponsored D-Force racing machine. So really everything kind of in the hands of Matt Clark, but you never know what could happen, right? So he's just going to try to get the best result he possibly can. A win locks it down. If he finishes in front of all three of the VRD drivers, it's a done deal at that point. So indeed, as we said, potential for more cars involved. We talked about in turn 12. I think a couple of those cars pulled away. So it looks to me like I think we've had almost all the cars out of the way. So we could be to the point right now where we'll be able to get things back underway here. As I said, 16 drivers I think have presented themselves for at least one lap. So I have to believe that with the cars of Ho, Sherlock, and Armstrong all now taken off, really it's just the time for the crews to make sure the track is clear and that we can go back to racing. So look forward to getting back at it again. We'll see what kind of elapsed time we have as we get set to go back at it here once again. And maybe an opportunity for the drivers to take a deep breath as well. Those in the championship fight, we know you come out of turn number 20 here, and it's that big run down into turn number 1. You climb up that steep run. And indeed, here comes EFR. We're going back to racing, as I expected. Here they come, back to yellow flag. We'll see how many laps we're able to get in here. We'll go green next time by. I have no doubt in my mind. Bring them around, line them up, and go back to racing. Alessandro DiTullio set to lead him off here. The driver from Miami, Florida in the VRD DTI Group Inc. entry. DiTullio's had a strong season. 5 wins in total. Swept the weekend at Virginia International Raceway. Scored the win at Road America as well. Victory at Mid-Ohio. An issue yesterday, though, had an issue with the power plant and ended up finishing 12th, which kind of hurt his opportunity to stay in the championship fight. He would love, of course, to come back in a big way with a win here. So DiTullio, who was one of our superstars in our TireRack.com Road to Indy E-Series on iRacing during the offseason, kind of used that to springboard himself into a program to race with VRD Racing, Dan Mitchell's team championship winning operation. VRD, of course, will be part of USF Juniors next year, the USF 2000 program as well, and you never know, we might even see him into the Indy Pro 2000 program as well. VRD going all in on the Road to Indy and USF Juniors in 2023. Great to have him in their paddock. DiTullio, Morris, Corey, Johnson, Clark, top 5. Sheehan, Fairburn, Castro, Jameson, and Bonilla, the top 10. Lucas Facuri, the driver, as I said, hasn't pulled back out onto the racetrack yet. He's the one that lost the rear wing, so you can't work on it during the red, but as soon as they went yellow, they had everything pulled out, and they're getting that rear wing put on the number 28 of Facuri. Lucas Facuri from Brazil. Ran the VIR and Mid-Ohio events with us here in the USF Juniors program. His 3rd weekend as part of this inaugural USF Juniors program. Team going to work trying to get that rear wing put back on the car. Drivers now working their way down into turn number 12. For Curl, get an opportunity to drop the hammer to get back out here, but for him, just probably not going to be. Whether he stays in the lead lap will be the key, but not going to be in contention right now. Lights out of the pace car. It is time to go back to racing. 2 laps in the books, 13 still to go. Just over 31 minutes remaining. There's a possibility of getting this full race in if we go the remainder of the way. Green to checker. There's your championship leader, the 17 of Matt Clark. Again, for him, this second race, just log more points, log more points. There's a total he needs to get to that no one can catch him. And it doesn't really matter how you get those points. He had a strong run yesterday for Clark onto the podium, P2. Remember, started dead last. Had an issue with the fuel pump in qualifying. Got the fastest lap in, but stopped on the racetrack with the fuel pump issue. That brought out the red flag. Lost his only quick lap. So he started 19th yesterday. Fought his way up into second thanks to some carnage and some issues. Huge for him yesterday. Now with an opportunity to potentially clinch here today. We'll see how it all plays out. Drivers rolling back out. We're going to go back to green flag racing. Going to need a quick green. Back at it right now. USF Juniors race number 2. DeTulio's going to stay to the bottom of the racetrack. Big, wide run on the outside for Nikita Johnson. Clark watching what's happening here as well. Bryson Morris in the crosslink Kiwi machine trying to go to the outside. Will he have the inside coming down into turn number 2? He does. Bryson Morris going to take the lead away from DeTulio. Corey in the 3rd spot. 4th is Johnson. 5th, Clark going to hang him back there watching. It's a big run through 4 and 5. They'll sweep their way through turn number 6. Good jump there for Bryson Morris, looking to win in his debut weekend here in USF Juniors. A talented young driver, reigning champion in the Lucas Oil School of Racing Formula Car Series. Done some racing in some endurance runs in both Barcelona and Dubai earlier this year, some sports car racing. Great to have him here in this USF Juniors program. Our first look at Bryson Morris. Very, very talented young driver out of Nashville, Tennessee. He'll lead down the back straightaway for the first time. Everybody else tucking in. Clark looking to the inside and Nikita Johnson as they work their way down the straightaway. Jeremy Fairburn and Ryan Sheehan closing up here as well. Behind Sheehan, I believe it might be Maxwell Jamison, the best we've seen out of Jamison this year. Oh, we got some slicing and dicing for sure, left, right. DeTulio trying to hold off Sam Corey. So it's the crosslink Kiwi driver, Bryson Morris out front. A couple of ERD drivers, though, elbows up. Matt Clark trying to run smart here. You don't want to get yourself caught up in an incident. Here's your leader there, now working their way back into turn number 12. Turn number 15. Coming through 15, the big sweeping 16, 17, 18 complex. Back over here to the 1920. Double lefts. Lots of room on the exit there. Drivers having to keep it inside. That's where track limits are. They're not going to call the track limits if there's no overtaking. You haven't actually made a move, but they're instructed to keep inside the track limits of turn number 19. Everywhere else, open game. Oh, coming down the inside. Look at this fight a little bit further back here right now. I think that potentially is a scrap with, is that Johnson and I think Sheehan. Clark diving down the inside. That's the 17 of Matt Clark. Yeah, going down the inside there. Sheehan makes a great move to, I believe, go up to P4. Ryan Sheehan, local driver at Austin, Texas here, goes to P4. Bunch of guests here this weekend for Ryan Sheehan, which is fantastic. They really worked hard to put together a program to bring a bunch of people out here. Ryan and his family have put together their Pathfinder sponsors. Mike and Stephanie Johnson from Bridgepoint Consulting are here. Mark and Christian King from Keller Williams. Also Gabe and Sonia Krajasik from Kabasa. Tom and Luke Nolan from Kendra Scott. They've got a lot of great people here this weekend. I grabbed a list of them here because I wanted to make sure I mentioned all the good folks that are here to support Ryan Sheehan here this weekend for Crosslink Kiwi. Morris, fast lap of the race that last time by at 2:17.878, so he's out to a pretty good position here now. Everybody else kind of settling in a little bit. Morris, DeTulio, Corey, top three drivers across the line. Sheehan made that big move to the inside. I think Clark's been able to get by Sheehan to go to fourth. So move, I think, Clark into the fourth spot. So one of the issues we had, of course, I said at the very start, was the number 32 of Giorgio Carrera jumped out of the line. You saw that at the initial start. They gave him a drive-through penalty, so he's had to already serve that. So he is through with a drive-through. Lucas Facuri has not yet gone back onto the racetrack after the rear wing, so you wonder whether or not there was more damage. Maybe actually knocked the mounting positions off that rear wing. So he's not got back out on the racetrack. There's Matt Clark there, your point leader, currently running in the fourth position. Top three drivers trying to stretch away with Bryson Morris out front. Morris, DeTulio, Corey, then it's Clark, Sheehan, and Johnson as they snake their way down the front straightaway. Morris trying to break the draft up into turn number one. Here comes Sheehan looking to the inside. In fact, maybe more defending from the 17 to Clark. That's actually Clark holding on to the outside. He's going to lose another spot. Getting a little hectic here right now. That is Clark and Johnson. Clark's going to let Johnson roll through. Clark will go back to P6. So Matt Clark, the point leader now, doesn't, for him, do you get in here and really scrap it out? Do you battle? Because the primary guy he's fighting with is Sam Corey. He's in the best position to potentially able to pull this thing away. But right now, they're in pretty good positions here right now. Clark knows he just needs not to get into an incident. He wants to stay out of trouble, log good points, see how things play out here right now. He's got, of course, Nikita Johnson, who's got to get by Sam Corey, rather get by Ryan Sheehan. Matt Clark can really cruise around here P6 right now and really get a good feel for it. As they run on the racetrack, Clark in 6. That's 364 points. DeTulio currently runs in the second spot at 320. So as they run on the racetrack right now, DeTulio's out of it. Not an opportunity. Let's have a look at the next driver in the order. That would be Nikita Johnson. Nikita currently runs, I believe, in the 5th spot right now. That would be 323 points. Clark would have a 41-point lead. So as they run on the racetrack, Nikita Johnson negated from potential winning this championship. Then we go down to Sam Corey, who is in the 3rd position, 336. Clark would be at 364. Corey still with a shot at it. He would be back by just 28 points. So again, where they run on the racetrack right now, Clark would have knocked 2 people out of contention. It would come down to Sam Corey and Matt Clark for race number 3 this afternoon. Top 6 drivers working their way down the front straightaway now. Again, they've been able to pull significantly away from Jeremy Fairburn running in 7th. Fairburn's had a pretty good weekend so far, considering the fact that he started deeper in the field, finished 6th yesterday. Bailey Cruz back into pit lane, but 6th yesterday for Jeremy Fairburn, now currently running in 7th. Drive-through penalty for Bailey Cruz, potential jump start issues, so from race control, more information. Actually, incident responsibility for Bailey Cruz. That was why he got a drive-through. So one of the incidents on the racetrack was Cruz's fault. They brought him through a drive-through. So, again, Cruz was falling to the tail of the field as well. He's down in 15th. Lucas Facuri, who had the issue, 16th, still on pit lane. He's done. So 4 drivers not going to make it to the end of this one. Morris, DeTulio, Corey, Sheehan, and Johnson. Current top 5. Championship leader Matt Clark's just cruising there, P6. Sam Corey trying to find his way by. If he's able to get by DeTulio, it may give Corey a better opportunity to steal away this title in race number 3. That might put some pressure on Matt Clark to find another spot. Drivers all the way down to the inside of the racetrack. Look at that fight further on. They're going left. They're going right. Here comes Sheehan back down to the bottom of the racetrack to see if he can't make the move. And almost side by side there. Sheehan and Nikita Johnson. Clark, the very interested spectator, back there in P6. No one really pulling away. Clark trying to be smart. You don't want to get collected in an instant here. Look at Sheehan starting to get aggressive. Clark thinking about the outside. Matt Clark playing with his own fate here right now. Again, he doesn't want to see Sam Corey get up the road. That's the primary guy he's worried about, right? As we know, running P2 right now for Alessandro Tullio, he'd be out of contention. He'd be battling for second, third, and fourth in race number 3. Clark pushing hard now. Right there, P6. See the 7th place driver all alone back there. That is Jeremy Fairbairn. Then you got the next fight with, I believe, Ethan Barker, Andre Castro, and Jake Bonilla. Indeed, lap 7 in the books right now. Barker now up into 8th. Another great run for Ethan Barker. He's been on this track before, has some significant seat time here at the Circuit of the Americas, but driving a Spec Miata, not in an open-wheel formula car like this Ligier, this USF Juniors machine. Barker, Bonilla, and Castro running together. A second and a half back to Maxwell Jameson. Then it's Matty Oust, Mathan Caceres, and of course Giorgio Carrera and Bailey Cruz. Both those drivers having to serve drive-through penalties. Up front, 0.8 of a second is the gap right now for Bryson Morris. Nikita Johnson with fast lap of the race. And that's going to come into play as well. That's an extra bonus point that Sam Corey would like to have as he's trying to close up as much as possible to potentially give him a shot still in race number 3. Bryson Morris would love to be able to get a race win here in his debut weekend. Morris having a strong run out front. Good speed. Looks to me like Corey making a move to the bottom there in turn number 12. And indeed, I believe Sam Corey's gone to second. That is going to help him out a little bit. 339 points he'd be looking at. Closing up again. So Sam Corey's gone into P2. So the VRD drivers running second, third, and fourth. Corey, DeTullio, and Johnson. Clark back now 6th. I guarantee you they're on the radio with Matt Clark, letting him know where everybody is. Right now, around a 24-point lead, I believe. Who's got fast lap? Nikita Johnson. So as they run on the racetrack, Sam Corey 339 points, Matt Clark 364 points. So a 25-point lead. If they finished as it would be, it'd be 25 points for Matt Clark. Almost insurmountable. As with only 19 drivers, you're going to get 2 points for starting the race. Look at this move. This is Nikita Johnson to the inside. He'll go up by the bottom of his teammate, DeTullio, way off the racetrack. Wow. Nikita Johnson working his way forward now, pushing hard. So we're seeing some tremendous racing right now here with the drivers in this USF Juniors program. We had an issue. 3-4 cars involved on the opening circuit. Took quite a while to be able to get this track back to it, but a 40-minute time window, meaning these drivers are going to get lots of track time. That's one of the things we did at the start of the season when we put together our schedule. It was to require a 40-minute session. We did not want these drivers driving around in a half an hour and not being able to get green flag laps in. Even with that longer run that we had with the cars getting cleaned up by the AMR IndyCar safety crew and the track staff, still able to get a lot of laps in. 8 laps down, 7 still to go, 18 minutes remaining. Long time here. There's the 87 of Jeremy Fairbairn, who runs by himself now in 7th position. A couple of good top 10 runs. Fairbairn starting further back in the field in, I believe, the 12th position. So another great run for him forward as he now runs 7th. Here's the fight further back. This is, again, Matt Clark's right in the middle of this scrap here right now. That's DeTullio, as I believe the number 66 of Ryan Sheehan's gone by, and Clark has come by as well. So Sheehan now into 4th, Clark into 5th. DeTullio now back to 6th spot. Clark looking to the inside, a little shallow entry to that corner. They kind of get back on the throttle. So right now DeTullio is following to the tail of the field. It was a second a couple laps ago, but just working his way back into 6th position now. There's your leader Morris out of 18 rather. Sandro DeTullio right there with Matt Clark. Clark can see if he can't use that toe in the front from Sheehan to be able to pull away. DeTulio going to try to fight back at it again. Both those drivers looking to get the toe off of Sheehan. Top three drivers pulling away a little bit. Morris, Corey, and now Nikita Johnson. Here comes DeTulio down the inside. It'll be an over-under potentially here as DeTulio goes back by. Matt Clark back into sixth again. Clark has to be very, very patient. 6th place points, big here still. Remember, second in the opening race, even 6th here puts him in a tremendous position to win the championship in race number 3. Of course, he'd like to come in and win a couple of races for sure, but at this point here, with $221,000 up for grabs, a scholarship to move him to USF 2000 in 2023, maybe you start thinking more about those points. Ask any one of these drivers at the start of the year, they don't think points. I asked them after a couple of races, hey, you got a point lead, you've won a bunch of races, how do you feel? Matt Clark swept the first 2 weekends, but wasn't thinking points. You do at the end of the season, you think about that extra point, you think about maybe that fast lap, that might have helped me out a little bit. You don't do that, though, early in the season. Clark's been able to do what he needs to do throughout this program. You look at the work of Matt Clark, really only 4 results not on the podium, 2 of those being 4th. So really only 2 races not in the top 5 for Matt Clark here in the 2023. Little look, the guys battling back in. Clark's gone back to the position. DeTulio looking to the inside, coming through. DeTulio giving him room. Tight corner there, coming through turn number 15. So Clark's gone back to P5, able to get back around to DeTulio. He needs the breathing room right now. That's the key. And he's got some finally. Looks like maybe 2 or 3 car lengths coming over to turn number 19 and 20. DeTulio way off the racetrack. He'll try to get that draft again coming into turn number 1. If Clark can hold DeTulio off, I think in turn 1, it may be a chance. But DeTulio getting a big run up the straightaway again in that draft. Clark not quite close enough to Ryan Sheehan. I'll tell you this, though. Sam Corey and Nikita Johnson are closing up on Bryson Morris. Look at this. This is 1, 2, 3. First, second, and third. The Crosslink Kiwi driver leading a couple of ERDs. Sam Corey knows that he needs a race win. He qualified on pole, but had some issues. Made a minor error coming down into the braking zone of turn number 12 in the opening lap yesterday from pole. Chattered the rear tires a little bit, locked him up, and went off the racetrack. Was able to fight his way back to 12th, or from the deep in the field to 4th. A tremendous drive for him. But can Corey get a race win here? Again, trying to take matters into his own hands. That's all you can ask for from a young driver when you're 2nd, 3rd, or 4th in points. You go out, get the job done, win a race, and let everything else play to itself. Right now, both those drivers running 2nd and 3rd still with a mathematical shot at the championship. That is the 14 of Sam Corey and the 7 of Nikita Johnson. One of the things I said about turn number 19 was the fact that it's the only part of the racetrack where race control is really looking at track limits. Everything else is kind of open. Qualifying huge. You were not able to go outside of track limits in 19. If you did, that lap was negated. Here in the race, not so much. If you improve your position by going off track, maybe. Obviously at that point, if you improve your position, they could call that. However, if you're just in line and you're not improving position, I don't know whether or not race control would care too much. But Alessandro DeTulio's been out there quite a bit, and that's keeping him with the guys up front. So if he's leveraging that part of the racetrack to keep with Sheehan and Clark, well, maybe race control will look at that one for sure. Bryson Morris potentially getting a warning for blocking as Sam Corey's been getting aggressive. This is allowed 4th and 5th to close back up. Look at this, Ryan Sheehan right there. Wow, this one's not done. Hold on. This is getting hectic. Look at this. Coming down the bottom. Corey going to go to the inside. Clark's looking in there as well. Lots of room. Everybody side by side. Clark trying to get by Sheehan. Hold your breath once again. Top 5 drivers together. DeTulio not quite there. 12 minutes to go. 11 laps down, 4 laps remaining in race number 2. The 15th race of this 16-race calendar. And this is a good one. Bryson Morris, being pretty defensive over the last couple of laps, has allowed Corey to close back up, but all that action into turn number 1 has given him a little more room. He kind of ran this regular race line. Corey thought about the bottom. Number of drivers going to the outside. That's give a little bit more breathing room, I think, for Morris, because this has brought Ryan Sheehan back in, and he's thinking about going deep on the braking zone on the outside of turn number 11. An over-under for Sheehan. Does he get a big run? Johnson with the block to the inside. Johnson moves to the bottom. You got to hold that spot. Sheehan's going to try to go around the outside of him this time. Everybody to the inside of the racetrack, and welcome back Alessandro DeTulio. That's brought him back into the fight. Oh, how about 3 wide? Clark going to go to the inside. Book it. Clark goes to P3. So Matt Clark takes advantage of 3 wide running up into turn number 12. He'll go to the bottom of the racetrack. I think he slips back a couple of spots, though. He does. At least one. Ryan Sheehan now up into 3rd. So indeed, Clark took the position but fell all the way back to 6th again. Wow, a lot of action here for the drivers in USF Juniors. Clark made a big run down the bottom of the racetrack, but when you have a shallow entry like that, you're giving up the exit. And the drivers were able to over-under him pretty aggressively. He goes from 3rd or 4th all the way back into 6th again. This has allowed the leaders to pull away. This could be Bryson Morris versus Sam Corey. You wonder how the D-Force team is on the sidelines trying to win this initial championship in USF Juniors. Corey going to throw it down the bottom. Big move to the bottom of the racetrack. In turn, they're going to give a lot of room to the outside. Corey trying to hold him off. Side by side coming back down the hill. Morris keeps the spot. Corey knows that he needs to win this race to keep himself with a better shot at the title. Clark's gone back to 6th rather, so that opens it up. 32 of Carrera into pit lane again. Giorgio Carrera for International Motorsports. Last time across the line, Morris, Corey, Sheehan, Johnson, DeTulio, and Clark were the top 6. That was the order. You see the gap is separated a little bit here. 12 laps in. 3 laps to go. And I think we're going to have the time. So we only lost a couple laps at the start after going red, so almost a full distance race. Clark, what's going through his mind right now? Able to get to P3 for a split second. You got to think strategy. You have to think about the end game. It's not about just being on the podium here. Yeah, you want to close it out, but he could literally run around in P5, P6, P7 in race number 2 or race number 3, and he'd have it. He will make a move to the inside of DeTulio to go to 5th. There'll be a set amount of points that he needs to clinch things in race number 3. Bryson Morris could be his best friend here right now. If Morris is able to get the race win, holding. Oh, look at this move to the bottom for Clark coming through turn number 15. Book it, he's through. Corey goes to the lead. I said Clark, I meant Corey. Sam Corey to the bottom of the racetrack. He takes the spot. That was a bold move for the Cornelius, North Carolina driver. He knows he needs it. He's got to win this. What a great drive right now for Sam Corey. What a run. I believe still 14 years of age. And it's going to bring everybody back in. When you stack him and pack him through that corner, turn 15, you slow up everybody's exit. Nikita Johnson still with a shot at it as well. Clark's worked his way to 5th. Oh, back to the bottom. How about some side-by-side? We're banging Coopers in turn 1. Way wide. Coming out of turn number 1. Down to the bottom of the racetrack. Corey's got some room. Here comes Nikita. They're going to be side-by-side coming up the hill through the S's. Corey goes back through. Ryan Sheehan back there could be the guy that is a big part of this. He was on the podium in third yesterday, ended up falling back to fifth. He's got the partners and sponsors, potential sponsors here. He wants to show them what he's worth. He'd love to be on the podium right now. A little extra incentive to maybe throw it into turn 12. No absence of excitement for USF Juniors. Race number 2. We'll do it again this afternoon. There's Nikita Johnson to the inside as well. Johnson goes to second. Morris goes back to third. Sam Corey with the lead. Wow, I'll tell you, Morris had to use all the experience there in turn 11, giving up that inside line, but they are battling each other. This may give Sam Corey a little breathing room that he would love to have right now. This would put Corey at 344 points. Big dive bomb move to the bottom for Sheehan. He stacks him into turn number 12. Look at this side by side coming through 13 and 14. Sheehan on the inside. He's going to go to second. Ryan Sheehan to second. Clark goes to P3. Matt Clark up to third. Big move to the bottom. That's DeTulio. 3 wide through 15. Hold on. And Morris goes all the way back to 6th. He was leading for a majority of the race. And Bryson Morris back into 6th. Being told the 32 of Giorgio Carrera done. 15th for Giorgio as he parks it on pit lane. Things just heating up here now. White flag will fly this time by Sam Corey, doing everything he needs to do up front, but so is Matt Clark. This is crazy. 344 for a win for Corey. A third spot would give Clark 371, but we're a long way away from being done. Still over 3 miles to go. White flag flag. Clark overcooks it in the braking zone of 1. He's going to lose at least 1 spot. Yeah, he's going to go back to 4th. So Clark back to 4th with DeTulio right behind him. Corey's way up the road. Ryan Sheehan to 2nd. What a drive for Ryan. And I had mentioned that he's going to want to perform for the Pathfinder sponsors, and he's got it going. P2 right now for the Austin, Texas resident. Sam Corey trying to keep his bid alive for a championship for the race number 3 this afternoon. And Sheehan, buoyed by the support of his partners here at the home track, currently P2. He needs to get a really good run through turn number 11 because you know that Nikita Johnson's going to be aggressive. No one will ever have to push Nikita to try to go for an opening. Good run from Sheehan out of turn 11. Really strong run. Holds probably 2.5 car lengths. But the toe down the straightaway here, massive. We ran Indy Lights here a couple of years ago, and there was literally 2 push-to-pass zones here on this back straightaway. That's how long it is. Everybody down to the bottom of the racetrack. This is going to let Sam Corey run away with it. Big outside move. Watch the over-under coming from Nikita. And, yeah, look at the run around the outside. I think Johnson may have gone to 2nd. He is to the inside right now. Where's Clark? He's on the inside of the corner. He's trying to go by Sheehan as well. Oh, DeTulio going to throw it to the bottom. Clark's got to be smart here. Indeed, he may go back to 6th. So this is huge for Sam Corey as Clark goes back to P6. This is going to bring this championship very close. Nikita's still with the fast lap of the race. Bryson Morris, I think, with most laps led, so those are points that are not on the table for Sam Corey. Coming out of the final couple of corners, big run to the outside. These guys are slicing through turn 19. Sam Corey is going to roll through here to get his 3rd win of the year, I believe. Contact, drivers together. One driver upside down coming out of turn number 19 or 20. A driver is off the racetrack upside down. Let's see as they come across the track as contact at the very end. That was one of the crosslink cars. So a driver is upside down out of turn number 20. Trying to figure out which driver that is right now. Sam Corey in the 14 is going to get the win. Not sure who that is upside down. I think Ryan Sheehan and Alessandro DeTulio. That's DeTulio, I believe, upside down. Sheehan, I believe, able to continue. That was the contact between those drivers. Watch them come across the line here now. Yeah, that's DeTulio, who is upside down. I was literally looking down at live timing, look back up, and there's a driver off the racetrack. So those 2 drivers getting collected. Matt Clark goes to P4. He's able to get through for P4. And as they run on the racetrack, I'm looking at this right now. Fast lap to Nikita Johnson, 368 points for Clark, 344 for Corey. That may be the championship for Matt Clark. He may have clinched it here with a 34-point lead. That chaos in the final corner between DeTulio and Ryan Sheehan may have just given Clark the championship. So we need to get, obviously, a crew immediately out to Alessandro DeTulio, who is still involved in an incident here in turn number 20. Sheehan was able to continue and roll on. Corey with the win. Nikita Johnson takes second. Bryson Morris in third. Matt Clark in fourth. Fifth was Jeremy Fairburn. Sixth, Alessandro DeTulio. Sixth, Andre Castro. Seventh, Jake Bonilla. Eighth, Ethan Barker. Ninth was Maxwell Jamison. And 10th was Ryan Sheehan. So let me reset here. I said 34 points. It's only 24 points. So it's not a championship for Clark. It's a 638 to 644. Math is hard. Struggled with that one a little bit. So 24-point lead right now for Matt Clark as they run on the racetrack. Our crews have obviously worked their way to Alessandro DeTulio. Again, that was the contact coming through turn number 20. I didn't get a chance to see it. Getting a thumbs up here, folks, regarding Alessandro DeTulio. So if you're trackside or if you're watching here on the live broadcast at home, the thumbs up on Alessandro DeTulio from the AMR IndyCar safety crew and the track crew that have gotten there. That is huge news for the contact coming through that corner. Great to hear that he is okay. And again, what a crazy finish to this one here. Wow. Wow is all I can say. Drivers working their way into pit lane here right now. An absolutely crazy finish for this race. As again, Sam Corey able to get out of there cleanly. He had that lead as everybody else was kind of battling behind him. But the bottom line is Matt Clark able to come through as well. He's able to clear it. That happened right in front of Clark. Thinking that was 4th and 5th on the racetrack. Clark was 6th. He was able to keep the car to the inside to hold the spot. But again, Sam Corey, Nikita Johnson, and Bryson Morris, the drivers who we'll see on the podium here momentarily. We won't have that for you actually on the broadcast, but we want to let everybody know that we indeed will be back this afternoon for race number 3. Look for around a 1:05, 1:10 pre-race start time here on the YouTube channel for Road to Indy TV. Otherwise, what a battle it was. Yep, there he is. Just you guys can't see him from here. I can see him. Alessandro DeTulio out of the race car, waved to a couple of the fans that were in the grandstand. So fantastic to see DeTulio get out of the race car. That is a great way to cap this off. But again, a big win for Sam Corey, keeping himself in the championship fight. We'll wrap things up here from the Circuit of the Americas. Again, back at 1:05 here with pre-race for race number 3. On behalf of everyone from Anderson Promotions, Cooper Tires, and Road to Indy TV, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.